Metal screamed against metal as the black limousine spun across the rain-soaked highway. Tires burst. Glass exploded. The car flipped once, twice, then slammed upside down into a drainage ditch. Inside, Victor Langston tasted blood. "Damn it," he shouted moments before the world turned sideways. Rain poured through the shattered windshield. Smoke hissed from the engine. His seatbelt jammed. His phone slid somewhere into darkness. He tried to move, but pain shot through his ribs like fire. The engine sparked. Outside, cars slowed. No one stopped. 200 meters away, a skinny boy with a sack of scrap metal over his shoulder froze mid-step. Daniel had seen accidents before. But never like this. Never with a car that looked like it cost more than every house in his neighborhood combined. The car twitched. Smoke thickened. Daniel's heart pounded. He could walk away. He should walk away. He was late already. His mother would worry. The scrap he carried might finally earn them enough for dinner. Then he heard it. A faint groan. Daniel dropped the sack. He ran. Rain slapped his face. His worn sandals slid in mud. He reached the ditch and saw the man hanging upside down, bleeding from his forehead, eyes half closed. "Mister! Can you hear me?" Victor's lips moved weakly. "Help!" The smell of gasoline filled the air. Daniel grabbed the door handle. It wouldn't budge. He pulled harder. Nothing. Cars passed. Headlights flashed. No one stopped. "Help!" Daniel screamed. "Somebody help!" The engine sparked again. Daniel's hands shook. He picked up a rock from the roadside and slammed it against the cracked windshield. Once. Twice. On the third strike, glass shattered inward, cutting into his palms. He didn't stop. He reached through broken shards, slicing his skin, and struggled with the seatbelt latch. "Stay awake," he yelled. "Don't sleep." Victor's eyes flickered. The buckle finally snapped. Victor's body dropped heavily against the roof. Victor's body dropped heavily against the roof. Daniel dragged him through the broken window inch by inch, grunting under the weight. The man was heavy. Too heavy. "Come on, come on." Smoke thickened. With one final desperate pull, Daniel managed to drag Victor several feet away. 5 seconds later, the car exploded into flames. The blast threw Daniel onto the wet asphalt. Silence followed except for the crackling fire. Daniel lay there shaking, rain mixing with blood on his hands. Sirens wailed in the distance. When paramedics arrived, they found a barefoot boy kneeling beside an unconscious billionaire. Victor Langston was a name known across the country. Owner of Langston Holdings. Builder of skyscrapers. Buyer of struggling companies. A man who believed in profit margins more than people. By morning, the news had spread. Billionaire survives highway crash. But the headlines didn't mention the boy. If this story is already pulling at you, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. At the hospital, Victor drifted in and out of consciousness. Broken ribs. Concussion. Severe bruising. But alive. Very alive. Who pulled him out? One nurse asked. A kid, another replied. Skinny thing. Looks about 10. Victor woke fully 12 hours later. His assistant, Martin, stood beside the bed. "Sir, you're safe. Doctors say you're lucky." Lucky? Victor winced. They said, if you had stayed in the car another 30 seconds. Victor stared at the ceiling. Who got me out? A boy, sir. Collecting scrap near the highway. Victor frowned. Where is he? They treated his hands. He refused to leave until they confirmed you were alive. Victor turned his head slowly. Bring him. A few minutes later, Daniel stepped into the hospital room, wearing oversized borrowed slippers and a clean hospital shirt. Bandages wrapped both palms. Victor studied him. "You?" Daniel nodded. "You pulled me out?" "Yes." "Why?" Daniel blinked. "Because you were going to die." Victor almost laughed, but pain stopped him. "You knew who I was?" "No." "You could have died." Daniel shrugged. "So could you." Silence settled between them. "What's your name?" "Daniel." "You go to school?" "Yes." "Your parents?" "My father passed away." "My mother cleans houses." Victor looked at the bandages again. "You injured yourself saving me." "It's fine." "It's not fine," Victor said sharply, then softened. He signaled to Martin. "Bring my briefcase." Victor pulled out his checkbook and signed his name boldly at the bottom. He turned the check toward Daniel. The amount line was blank. "Write whatever you want," Victor said. "Any number." Martin's eyes widened. "Enough to buy a house," Victor continued. "Enough to pay for school. Enough to change your life." Daniel didn't touch it. "Go on," Victor urged. "You earned it." "If I write anything?" Daniel asked. "Anything." Daniel stepped forward. The room grew quiet. Victor expected hesitation, then greed. He had seen it thousands of times. Daniel took the pen and began to write. Before you see what he writes, comment below, what would you write on that check? Daniel finished writing. He folded the check and handed it back. Victor unfolded it slowly. His confident expression faded. He blinked. "Is this a joke?" Daniel shook his head. On the check, written clearly in careful handwriting, was $1. Victor stared at it. $1? Daniel nodded. Silence pressed against the walls. "Why?" Victor finally asked. Daniel looked at him calmly. "My mom says if you help someone, you don't sell it." The words hit harder than the crash. Victor felt something unfamiliar rise in his chest, shame. "For $1, Daniel continued softly, "now you don't owe me anything. But maybe you can help someone else someday." Victor couldn't speak. In boardrooms, he controlled everything. But here, a 10-year-old boy had just redefined wealth. 3 months later, the poorest district on the industrial outskirts had a new construction site. Not luxury apartments. Not a factory. A school. Fully funded by Victor Langston. 6 months after that, a small community health clinic opened. Then scholarship programs. Then housing renovations. Reporters called it a surprising turn in corporate philosophy. Victor called it something else. A $1 lesson. And at the entrance of the new school, a small plaque read, "Inspired by Daniel." Sometimes, it's not millions that change the world. Sometimes, it's $1. If this story moved you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this, and share it with someone who still believes kindness matters. And before you go, tell me in the comments. Was Daniel right to write $1, or would you have written something different?